Welcome back to the Nightlife Podcast Season 2, Episode 25, the last episode of this season, guys. And man, I have been planning on this episode because, I just didn't want to have this with just anybody. I wanted to make sure that it was somebody who I believe understands, knows the business really from top to bottom. And I couldn't think of anybody better than this guy right here, Shaun Gold, the Nightlife Ninja. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Not a problem whatsoever. So, anyway, guys, we always start with a little information as to where you can find the two of us. So, you can find me always at the Nightlife Entrepreneur on Instagram. You find me as nightlifepodcast.com, where you get all of the episodes of the podcast, also YouTube, iTunes, all of that stuff. And how about you?
You can find me at ShaunGold.com. You can find me at goldscode.com. And if you really want to follow me on Instagram, you can follow me at I am Shaun Gold.
There you go. Shaun, so you are Shaun Gold. Who are you really? What's up with you? Who are you in the industry? Why do you call yourself the ninja, or why do people call you the ninja?
Well, it's funny that you asked. So that term came from the fact that I was kind of like a superhero when it came to the nightclubs, because I got my clients in and then I would vanish. And then when they needed me, I would always be there. I would materialize. So I would get them in, they wouldn't see me. And then they would turn around somewhere in the club or at the pool or the house, whatever the event was, and I would be there just behind them. And they would always be like, "You're like a ninja." So the name kind of stuck.
Correct. Dude, you know what? That's something I haven't spoken about before, as a matter of fact, but it is very important to disappear. You know what I mean? Like
strategically.
Exactly. There are moments when you shouldn't be there, and there are moments when you are needed there.
Exactly.
Because actually I've seen it a lot in the newer generation of promoters, that it's like from the moment that their client arrives, it's like they're stuck to them the whole night, and that's why they never grow from those clients. You know what I mean? They have no time to meet other people. I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, it's a common mistake that, when you have one client, and this is for any business, if you have your one general client, that client one day is going to lose interest. Not because of your fault, because they're going to either grow out of it, or they're going to get married, or they're going to move, or if it is Miami, they're going to go to rehab, or something else that's going to happen, and you're going to lose that client. And the time you spent with them building it up and not building other clients, you're going to feel it.
Correct.
I mean, I always used to joke that nightlife, especially Miami nightlife, and being a promoter was like a Ponzi scheme, because all your people eventually are going to either grow out of it, move away, graduate, get fired, whatever the case may be, and you have to replace them.
Right.
People can only go out so much before they hit the wall and say, "I'm not that young anymore.
Right.
I don't want to spend that money anymore. I want to stay in." And you have to constantly replace those people.
Right.
And if you don't have a steady stream of people to replace them with, then you're going to be in trouble.
That's true. That is true. I mean, to some extent, although one of the reasons that I believe that we've been able to last so long is also because we've been able to build different types of events for those same clients. For example, as a matter of fact, I just said hello to somebody at the bar over here who's been my client probably for the past 15 years. Started when she was underage, and now she's just over it with kids.
Exactly.
But back then it was actually what we were talking about before Yahe. Before it was Yahe, it was South Fork and Madhouse.
Before my time.
Yeah. So when that when this client was going over there, they were looking for the crazy party that we all love at that age. And then nowadays she's asking for, where's the happy hour ambience? Where can I go have dinner and some music and a little bit of So as long as, if we want to stay in the business for a long time and we want to keep on growing with those clients, we have to redesign at least the part as to where we're taking those clients, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's very hard.
You have to be flexible. I mean, if you're a 30 and older crowd, if you're a local 30 and older crowd, you're gonna want to do something that's worth going out for.
Correct.
If you're under 30, you want something more crazy.
Right.
So what I've seen is that if it's a special event, a one-time thing, a VIP event, just something that they're they're going to get a fear of missing out from, those are the best events. Whereas, before, years ago, especially when it was a younger clientele, at least for me, everyone would go out no matter what. If there was a chance to have fun and dance and drink, no matter what was happening, they would go.
Right.
And I'm sure you've seen it, whether it was through tropical storms or hurricanes. Some nightclub would be open, and everybody would be like, I don't have work tomorrow because there's a hurricane warning, so let's go out.
So it just becomes hurricane party.
Yeah, even though it's going to flood, even though it's going to lose power, let's still go to the nightclub. And I've seen people carry girls in 3 feet of water because the girls don't want to get their shoes wet. I've seen people drive their car and stall out to get to the club because it's like a one-time thing where let's go party, let's go crazy. It's a hurricane party.
Correct.
Nowadays it's like the only kind of party I would do is a search and rescue party because those are kind of dangerous. But back then when you're young, it's like, okay, let's do it. Who cares?
Talking about young, how young did you start in the business?
I started when I was 17, and for those at home, I'm 18 now.
There you go.
No, but I started, when I was 17. I started in the Bahamas throwing parties.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So same here, not in the Bahamas, but I was also 17 when I started. It's not that I condone it anymore, kind of. I mean, it was kind of different back then. I don't know.
It was very different back then.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know what the heck it is, but it was. The thing is this. Nowadays, I don't know if the younger generation, the 18 to 21, that are not able to drink at least here in the U.S. Is there space for them to get into the industry, do you think?
It depends where. I mean, right now in nightlife, at least in a competitive market, it's like a race to the bottom if you want to be a promoter. Because every person with a brain and an Instagram account can say whatever they want. It's very easy to fake your connections and to fake your success and to fake your hookups and to fake all that. When it comes down to it, are you able to deliver on the service you promise? Are you able to say if you're going to get someone in free, are you able to get them in free? Are you able to get someone the table they want? Are you able to get them past the line? Do you actually have pull and power and influence?
Right.
And a lot of people realize that, it's a very gullible thing now where it's like you click on a hashtag, you find someone that looks like they know what they're doing, you pretty much put your night, sometimes your entire trip, your one night in Miami or wherever you might be, even Vegas,
on that
person, who when you get to the club, they say, I don't know who that is.
Exactly.
And it's really, the bar is set very low. And if you can deliver, if you can over-deliver on your promises to people, then you'll go far. But it's that over-delivering part. It just, because so many people, it looks easy. It looks extremely easy because, oh look, he's doing it, she's doing it. It's the easiest thing, but it's not the easiest thing because you only see what happens at the club. You don't see the hours or even the days, the preparation that goes into it to confirm people, get names for a list, vet them, check the Instagram, make sure they're real, make sure they fit the part. Whatever it may be, you don't see that. You only see the aftermath, which is, the drinking and the fun and the dancing and all that.
Right.
So, 90% of the people, I'd say even 95%, just they clearly have no professionalism. They don't know what they're doing. And again, the bar is set low. So if you have a general interest and you really want to do this, and you come in there with an attitude that I'm going to be different, and I'm going to hook someone up, and I'm going to deliver on my promise, and I'm going to give them an experience that they're going to rave about me to their friends, then you will go far. But so many people, they want the glitz and the glamour. They want to drink. They want to party. And the people that are real professionals, they don't drink. They don't party. They're there to handle business.
Exactly.
I never drank. I never partied. I was there to handle business. I had to take care of people that needed to be taken care of. I had to make introductions to people that
I did a little partying, a little bit.
Okay, well, to each his own.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, I never did any of that.
I understand. Which, by the way, I think I would have done a lot better if I didn't.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I mean, it's something where I feel like, if I partied, I started when I was 17 like you, but if I was 18, you're 18 years old and people are all shoving bottles in your face and all sorts of stuff, I probably would have been done by 19.
Right.
There's like, for me, there's no way to go out 5 nights a week and drink and stay out and, be in school and try and have a normal life. It just wouldn't happen.
Right.
So with that being the case, you focus on what you have to do. You don't focus on the partying. You don't focus on the drinking. You don't focus on looking cool. You focus on your clients.
Right.
You focus on delivering. And you build a network from that. You build a network of people that start sending you referrals.
Right.
And even I have people that text me from all over the world. I'd say, so-and-so gave me your number. And nowadays, the younger generation doesn't even drop names. They just say, my friend gave me your number. What's good? There's just nothing. They want to get in. They want to do it. So, but that only comes because I hooked someone up and gave them treatment that they didn't expect.
And nowadays, you're only working like with the big dogs, right? You're
right.
Nightlife-wise.
Nightlife-wise, for me personally, because I've branched out, I do special events mostly now. Okay. So like if it's a yacht party, if it's a brand release.
Which, by the way, a lot of you people don't think about those things as a promoter business. And it is a side business or promoter that could become your main business at some point.
The best parties, the most fun parties that I ever did, rarely ever took place in a nightclub.
Correct.
They took place at a private mansion. They took place on a yacht. They took place at a penthouse.
Right.
They took place at I wouldn't say a festival. I'd say a day party with several thousand people, but not a festival. Those are the ones that are like amazing, because the nightlife, especially now, has become very vanilla. It's become very like, okay, just buy a ticket.
Same shit.
Where back in the day, as you probably remember, it's like, what's a ticket? You gotta know someone, dress the right way, act a certain way, be on time. You actually had to have a certain level of decorum to make it past that door, which now it's just like, if you have a ticket, go to this door or go to this side. And it's something where I never liked, and I miss the old way. So I prefer the private events where there is still like some sort of, again, decorum and professionalism, and actually like, I know someone to get into here, that it's not open to the public, it's invite only. Like you have to be on a list, you have to know someone, and you have to be admitted.
Correct.
Unlike where it's like, okay, I bought my ticket for $30 and I can go. And I feel like that's the antithesis of what South Beach used to be. And it's the antithesis of what Miami as a whole used to be, just because it used to be, you just had to know the doorman. You had to know your promoter. You had to, like, if your guy wasn't there, let me rephrase, if your person wasn't there, your main contact, you were out of luck.
Yeah, by the way, this is for men and women.
It's for everybody.
It definitely is.
It's basically, there are no prerequisites. The prerequisites is someone that's going to work hard. It's someone that's going to be professional. It's someone that's really going to, again, deliver on what they promise.
Right.
And it's not going to, mess things up, because you can mess up a lot of things. I mean, there's a pressure of people are entrusting you with their night, their vacation. I mean, I've had people entrust me with the wedding proposals. And you don't want to mess that up. That's a lot of pressure. So you want to make sure that it goes smoothly. And you can't be, on your phone hanging out, checking Instagram.
I've seen so many weddings and so many divorces through our history in this.
It's kind of a churn and burn for relationships. I mean, so to answer your question, I've sort of branched out. I mean, I did nightclubs for almost 20 years. Right. I mean, it's kind of boggling to say. And it's kind of weird to me, because I have people that are clearly underage texting me, and I'm like, wait a minute, you think Y2K is a DJ? You can't come out. Like there's a certain level of things I can take, and it's like we're getting to the point where people that would ask me how long you've been doing this, and when it gets to the point where I say before you were born, I have a problem. I personally have an existential crisis with that.
I've had phone calls. I'm in a club and I get a phone call from a good friend who's been a client for a while, and I'm like, oh shit, this guy's here. I answer, and he's like, are you at the door? I'm like, I'm not, but I'm coming. Are you there? He's like, no, my son's at the door.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Yeah, that's a bridge too far for me. Just because that's you don't want to be the person, the cockroach has met their match. You want to, at least for me. I mean, it's
so in a way for me also, I've separated from the part that has to do with being at the club and the whole partying and all that kind of stuff. I'm overseeing a longer team of promoters, and one of the reasons that I wanted to step out was because I saw that there was an issue. One of the issues was nobody was delivering on their promises, as you're saying, and I felt that there was something missing. Like, I needed to help those guys that wanted to do this right, help guide them, but not. I tried different ways, and that's when I decided, I gotta read a book about this stuff and maybe talk a little more about it. But when I finished the book, I realized it's not enough. I got to do a little more, because I was getting a lot of questions after the book, even though it did help a few people. And that's when I was like, okay, I went in the direction of creating a course, which is going to come out very, very soon. I'm doing my first webinar actually on the 28th of May, and the course comes out on June 10th. Focused more on the beginner promoters, anybody who's never been in the business. So it's from the start completely. two, anybody who's been doing it but is not doing well and wants to do it better. So I think there's going to be way more courses coming after, but I want to start with that. And then, my question is, what drove you to also writing? Actually, you've written more books, but
yes.
You're more of a writer now, I guess.
I mean, it's something I always wanted to do. And a lot of people, is like, you should write a book.
Right.
So, okay, I did. It's your turn now. Go write a book. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's something that I'm just naturally good at.
Right.
And I wanted to write something that could help people, that could show some crazy stories, that could really, be something that's easy to read. It's not like a 500-page tome.
Right.
It's something it's digestible. You can get through it in like a day or two, depending on how fast you are.
Right.
As well as the fact that you could keep it as a reference book, as a guidebook to come back to and read it. Because when you're in this business or any entrepreneurial business, you're going to have those days when you're like, what am I doing? Right. And you need something to fall back on when everyone calls you crazy. Right. I mean, it's so. That's pretty much why the book is there, to be like, you're not crazy. So
talking about Better Be You, what is the book about exactly?
So this is an entrepreneur crash course. This is the book that if you didn't go to school for entrepreneurship, because it's a major now. I mean, it's like the cool thing to do. I mean, that was my major and I attended the University of Miami. It's something that, okay, well, where do I get my resources from? Because I can go on Instagram, but the problem with that is I don't know if these guys are real or not. Anyone can just take a picture next to a car that they don't own and say, I made it. Yeah. Here I am. Now you do it. Right. And, where do they go? You can go to websites. They really just need a guide, and I'm from so left field, coming up through the nightlife to make these contacts and networking and actually, having this business that when I was 17, 18, 19, people... I read about in the book, people are, at that time, were trying to find, internships and all that when they're in college, and I was already running, a nightlife business, 4 or 5 nights a week in South Beach at the best nightclubs. Right. And I wanted to share that information because it's so out of the box. Very few people in this industry that have that sort of background and then write about it to help others and to illustrate, some examples. And to
I've been looking around. I haven't found more than 10 books in total, like from the 60s.
Yeah, it's a very small pool. Yeah. But I mean, it's, for instance, you can do a general marketing book, like a Seth Godin book, and that'll help. But when it comes to a nightclub, instead of working in a nightclub and making something happen, because pretty much what nightlife is and what nightlife promotions are is making something from nothing. Right. That's what it comes down to. It comes down to, here we have a club. The club in the day is just basically a basement. Okay, there's nothing there. There's no windows. Correct. It's a bunch of lights. It's a dark room. There's nothing. Right. At night, we got to turn the music on. You got to put the laser lights and all that on. And you got to make that basement into something that can generate lots of revenue. Right. So it's basically you have to make that hot. And you're not going to make it hot by, just showing up and expecting it to be packed. You really have to, deliver on your promises. You really have to bring the right people. You really have to, focus on what needs to be done and deliver on what needs to be done in order to make that place, the place to be. Because it's, especially right now, it's extremely competitive. Yeah. Because right now you're going up against an Instagram live feed. So if you go somewhere that's not hot, you can just check your phone and your friend's going to be somewhere down the block that's packed. Right. So it's like, why am I going to stay here when the other place is packed? Right. So it's more difficult now than it was before, because before you would just ask, is it good? Yeah, come through. Now, okay, send me a picture, send me a video. And you can go and see it right there and be like, wow, this is insane. So, and
it's usually the same places that are always packed.
Yeah, I mean, and there's not that many nightclubs, at least in Miami anymore. I mean, the beach has shifted. I mean, I don't need to explain it to you, but we went from an environment of having 3 nightclubs on every block for 10 blocks straight and having thousands of people to having a quiet beach town where Ultra's already gone. We having a quiet beach town where there's only a few big clubs now, where there used to be tons of big clubs. We went from having now Wynwood's a cool spot, but Wynwood is it's all bars, there's no dress code, it's a totally different scene. Or if you live in Midtown, why am I even going to go? I'll just stay at Midtown. If I live in Brickell, why am I going to take an Uber? I'll just walk the block. It's changed. So depending where people are, you really have to see the environment. And if there's one piece of advice that I personally used that I want to share with everyone, if they remember only one thing from this podcast, is that the secret to my success is that I took the jobs nobody wanted. On the nights, nobody wanted to go out. At the places that were not popular, for the money nobody else would accept.
Right. So you could actually be called a promoter.
Yeah. So I could actually not only be called a promoter, but establish a reputation.
Right.
I mean, establish just,
not just with the clients, but with the owners
the venues, with everything.
Right.
Because again, the bar is set low. Okay.
Yeah.
I came into this as a nervous, 17, 18-year-old kid. I didn't know anything.
Right.
Okay. One of my first big parties I did, I had like 300 people show up, and I thought I did bad because I thought my job was to pack 1,000 people in the club.
Right.
And you have people coming out saying, the average person brings 10 people, 15 people, 20 people. You just brought buses. Yeah, and that was like a hallmark back in the day when I would bus literally hundreds of students out to these clubs on empty nights and just fill them.
Right.
And I kept it going for years. I just kept it revolving door. Like, okay.
Were you a student at the time that you were doing when you started promoting? Okay.
Yeah, I was a student in high school, and I had what was, what's called the peak experience, the peak moment, where it's an experience you have that changes you. That when it hits you, and it could be for promoting, it could be for anything, music, it could be for acting, it could be for sports, it's anything. When you have that experience, you have to pursue it. So when I first started doing it, I said, this is for me. I have to do it. I don't care what it's going to take. I don't care what I'm going to have to do. I don't care if I don't make money at first. I don't care if I fail. Most people, for anything, I'd be like, oh, I fail, I'm not doing it. Oh, they give up. But when you have that peak experience, that peak moment, you're going to keep going. And that's what separates, successful, not just promoters, but successful people from non-successful. Because the non-successful will make excuses. Whereas the successful people will say, okay, I'm in it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to learn from this failure. I mean, I've had like such horrible failures that I'm sure nobody wants to hear about. But let's talk about them anyway.
Sure. I've always said that the failures are the ones that are going to educate them the most. It's what we need to share the most.
I mean, it's in a world now nobody wants to admit anything failed.
Right.
You do not post your videos or your pictures of your failures.
Yeah.
Because it's not cool. It's not cool to post like the fact that you're like, alone and you lost all your money and you want to shoot yourself. It's not cool. Right. You know what's cool? Posting that you killed it. Posting that even if you fake it.
Right.
So, you got to have a dose of reality. And the reality is like, all right, I did a party at a boat once, Halloween party called Ghost Ship. Okay. First major party, I was 18 years old. I had like 200-300 people come in costume. It was going great. One problem. It was like a mini hurricane. So the boat kept going from the left and the right. It became known as the Titanic.
Oh man!
I'm just kidding. The Titanic had survivors. So it was bad. Like it was one of those things that anyone else would be like, I'm not doing this ever again. But me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it again. So no more boats. So
no more ghost ships.
Yeah, no more ghost ships, please. See, we laugh about it now, but when you're like 18, and
imagine
you have something,
then, man.
I mean, it was to the point that when I showed up to my class the next day, because it was on a Thursday night, I showed up to the class, and they did a roll call, because there were only 20 people in the class. All the class looked at me, because they didn't expect me to show. The professor came up to me and said his door was always open if I wanted to talk. I mean, it was bad.
Oh, man.
So a year later, I did another party at a place called Tantra. Remember Tantra?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still around. I don't think it's still around.
No.
So we had a party to do on a Thursday at Tantra. All right, and it was going to be our first South Beach party.
Irina and I'm trying to remember their names. The owners.
I don't even remember. This is a long time ago. This is so. We set up to do this party. We promoted the hell out of it. It was going to be great. It was empty. We had like 7 people come, including me. It was terrible. Wow. One of my other friends was promoting down the block, and I go, how is it? He goes, the beach is dead. He's like, my party's dead too. So even now, even with the thousands of people, if I had that same night, I couldn't have made it happen. It was one of those things where, like, you have to fail. You have to fail so you learn. You have to know that, like, you get humbled a little bit.
Correct.
Where it's like, all right, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I need to learn. Maybe I need to just work with other people and see how they do it.
Right.
And that's pretty much, these experiences showed, okay, start at the bottom, just try it out, see.
Right.
And then as I started seeing that, again, the bar was set low, and that people would, I always thought, again, I was doing horribly, and then I would get calls the next week, are you coming? I was like, you want me back? And they're like, you did amazing, what are you talking about? Because, like, I didn't know what was expected. I thought Because when I was doing spring break parties in the Bahamas, I would just mob the place.
Right.
And I thought you had to just mob the place. But no, they were just like, just bring 20, 30, 40 good-looking people.
Right.
And then it was like, okay, can I bring 100? Yeah, bring 100. Can I bring 200? Can I bring 500?
There you go.
Can I do 1,000? Do 1,000. And it was just like, it became something where, again, you had to start and be humbled and make the right connections,
right.
Prove your worth, prove to the people that sign the checks that you are valuable.
Right.
And then you'll get more work. And that, I mean, every single job I had in that 15-year span of nightlife, whether it was a private party, whether it was a nightclub party, whether it was a day event or Super Bowl party, whatever, it comes from someone giving a referral, saying this is the guy you want to hire because he's going to deliver.
Yes.
So if you deliver on your promises and you actually over-deliver, and you just put your all into it every single time.
Under promise, over deliver all the time.
It will, it will create this reputation about you.
Yes.
And I mean, it's if I had a chart here, which I don't, but it would show how it goes from the bottom and it curves up a little, and then it plateaus, and then it curves up again, and then slowly goes down like a normal business arc.
Right.
But that chart was as a 15-year chart.
Exactly.
Most people, they just stay flat.
Right.
They don't go up. So it's something where you really have to put all your effort in and really work hard,
right.
And always be humble.
Yes.
And not worry about what anyone else is doing. Worry about what you can do. Worry about
100%.
Delivering for your clients, delivering for the club. And I mean,
especially nowadays, people concentrate a lot because of social media. They're always looking at what other people are doing.
Exactly.
Instead, just focus on what they're doing.
I'd say delete all that. Don't follow anybody. Okay, like just
right.
Like there are people that have 50,000 followers and they can't bring 5 people to a nightclub.
Right.
And it's like you need to have 50 people that spend money. Just have 50 clients. Focus on having 50 clients, and you'll be good. You don't need to worry about any of that. You don't try to be an influencer. Have real influence.
Right.
Have real influence so that, say, if the club is busy and the door is being held, which happens at a very hot spot, the fire marshal's going to come. They hold the door.
Yeah.
Have the influence to go and say, I need this person in. Just walk that person in. Have the influence when it's a sold-out night to get your main crew in. Have the influence to, if someone's coming to you,
you got to earn that influence.
You have to earn that. So you have to build that up.
Correct.
It's not about buying followers. It's not about having likes. It's not about being known for a bunch of people from out of town that are not going to spend money. It's about having real influence with real clients and establishing those relationships.
Right.
I mean, I have people from, again, like 15, 16 years ago that were at the very first parties I did, that once a year they'll come see me, and those are the people that whatever you want, it's like because they were there when I was doing no-name places on nights that nobody's there, and you're just like, they were supportive.
By the way, that's probably the best advice I've heard in a long time.
Well, thank you.
Because a lot of people do concentrate on, so what is the place that is happening and is packed, so I can work there that day and bring another 10 people to that party that's already happening. I was like, what is the point of that? Like, I don't get it.
I mean, a common misconception is that, like, if you want to get into this business, you're not going to start at the best place.
Right.
You're gonna, and that's one thing when I used to run teams of promoters. Everybody want to work is like, let's work here at this club because all my friends already go. And like, we don't need that. Like the clubs that are already busy do not need you. The clubs that are not busy need you. That's what separates who's going to be real and who's not.
Exactly.
Because it's again, it takes a lot of effort to really, make something happen and to build it up and to have something that goes for weeks and then months and if you're lucky enough, years.
Yes.
I mean, it's so
Shaun.
you have to get out of this mindset of like just working at the hottest place. If you want to be at the hottest place and look cool, just be a customer. Don't work there.
True.
Because you
have a lot to say, my man.
Oh, I try.
I love it, bro.
I try. Here's the that.
Where can people get your book, man?
Amazon. And right there, my face is on there. Don't be alarmed.
And you can find all his 4 books, actually.
Thank you.
I'm going to try to follow your footsteps and write another one. So anyway, we're going to be running out of time very soon. So I don't know. I was going to ask a last question, but you pretty much asked. Which was going to be about that. A good piece of advice with what you mentioned. I was like, man, that is so true. I haven't looked at it in that way pretty much, but it is so true and so real. The fact that you should focus on working where others don't want to be working.
Let's take some calls from the viewers at home.
Right.
See what they say.
Right. And anyway, in the end, you're also going to get that feeling of I was able to build that. I was part of building that. It's not just, I'm just another guy that when they come to the door, nobody knows who I am.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
again, it's if you want to look cool and if you want a little bit of clout, as the kids say, again, you can be a customer or be a friend with someone.
Right.
But if you actually want to build something and you want to sacrifice and you want to actually create something and take pride in the fact that you built something that's going to last, I mean, then be prepared to work hard. I had a party I started when I was a junior at University of Miami, and I kept it going for almost a decade after I graduated because I built it to last.
Right.
Okay? It went literally from 2006 to, almost 2013.
Nice.
And again, this is something I started with nothing and I built it, and we did it every single year to the point that, that was the party to go to. The alumni knew it, the transfers knew it, the freshmen knew it. But again, I built it, and the first ones, as I've already shared, were terrible.
Right.
You had to kind of suffer to get to where you want to be.
Correct.
And nobody wants to do that anymore. Everybody just wants I'm here. Where's my table? Where's my bottle? Where's my check?
True. Guys, so I don't know if I mentioned this before. I was talking to you about it, but the fact is, if you want to get started in this business, if you're not in it, or if you are somebody who's already in it but wants to do this better, I want to invite you that I'm going to be having my first webinar, online seminar, event, whatever you want to call it, on May 28th. It's going to be at 8 p.m., but you can go to the website, the blog, or you can on my Instagram, everywhere. You can find the link there and sign up for it. And after that, I'm actually finally launching the course that I've been promising to the followers for over a year. I mean, I got 3 kids. It's hard to get that stuff done. Of
course.
But the reality is I want to be able to help more people as you are already doing so. And man, I just want to thank you for coming today. I wanted to end the season with somebody who had the energy that you have, who's been in the business industry for a long time, who's been successful in the industry, and who has also failed at some ghost ship parties.
There was more than just one.
So guys, do not be afraid to fail. You got to try. And if you have those bad nights, which we all do, just keep going. Just keep going, because you will see those beautiful, successful nights, and it'll be all worth it. So, Shaun,
thank you
so much. Your handle one more time before we leave. Instagram, where is it that they can find you? I
am Shaun Gold. You'll see my face, don't be alarmed.
There you go. The book on Amazon. Both books you can get on Amazon. You can find me at the Nightlife Entrepreneur on Instagram. You'll find us at nightlifepodcast.com, on YouTube, Instagram, on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, blah, 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 everywhere.
I haven't followed you to the club.
Dude, don't follow me to the club. I'm not going to be there myself. See you next week.